All right. Hey everybody. Hey everybody. It is me, Danielle J. Mitchell, your up and coming queen of real estate, and I am here for another Tuesday tip at 2. All right. So listen, I thank you guys for joining me for today's and this week's Tuesday tip at 2. And I'm talking about a subject that a lot of times I'm coming up with things for Tuesday tip at 2 is I always have to make sure that when I'm trying to come up with new topics and things like of that nature, that I'm breaking things down. Like, what are the small things that me as a licensed professional I overlook that could be something new for the general public to be able to learn, right? So in this one, I was like, all right, so what are some of the attributes when it comes to home buying, selling, whatever, that I might be missing that I could be explaining, right? So that is always the great debate almost when I'm trying to come up with things every week, right? It's like, what is a nuance that I can take out of, the whole big umbrella of real estate that I can talk about, right? So that's what we're going to focus in on today, a nuance that's a part of the home buying process, which is title company. That is a huge part of I'm stuck. That is a huge part of home buying process, is being able to have a title company and getting a title search done, right? And for some of you, you're probably like, title, what are we talking about? Is that a thing? There's a company, the title, what the heck is that, right? So today we're going to talk about it. We're going to dive into it. I hope you all had a great holiday, a great Thanksgiving, and yeah, here we go. All right, last day of November. So we're going to talk about what is a title company. What is that? Okay, the title company. The role of a title company is to verify the title to the real estate to I'm sorry. I'm gonna start over. The role of a title company is to verify that the title of the real estate is legitimately given to the home buyer. Okay, essentially that they make sure that the a seller has the rights to sell the property to a buyer. So that's essentially what it is. They're making sure that this seller has the right to sell this property. It's not some scam, it's not some craziness going on, but they can legitimately do it. Okay, once the title insurance company has done its verification, or title company, it will back that guarantee with title insurance, which protects the lender and or owner in the event that someone comes along and makes a claim to the property in the future. Okay. The title company also handles the closing. So they handle the title as soon as you go, and I'm gonna let you know when this comes in during the process of home buying. As soon as you go under contract, the first thing that I do is I let the lender know and I let the title company know, hey, we're under contract, right? So then, the lender has to do their due diligence and making sure that you get processed out and that the funds is available on closing day, right? And then the title company does their due diligence as far as making sure that the title is clear. Okay, they're making sure that the title is clear. There are no problems, and I'll go more into the process of that title. And typically, also the title company handles your closing. Okay, they handles your closing and all that good stuff. Disperse all the funds. So the funds coming from your lender, the mortgage company, to the seller, paying off any final bills like the water bill, the gas bill, things of that nature. Um, if there are any liens, all that good stuff. So we're going to get into it, right? They hold the money for escrow, which is your earnest money deposit, or if they don't hold it, they receive that fund from the listing broker and all that good stuff. So let's get into it. What is a title? A title is the actual piece of documentation that says you, okay, John Q, John Doe, Jane Doe, um, homeowner own the property. If you're on the title, you'll also sign certain documents related to the mortgage, regardless of whether you're on the actual mortgage. Okay, so this ownership document is important. So, this is pretty much so the difference between a deed and a title. A deed is a legally binding document used to transfer property from one owner to the other. So the deed says this is the possession or legal right to this property is going from this person to that person. The title is saying, hey, this person actually owns the house, which if you're a buyer, that would be you. Okay. Now, next thing, a title company takes in order to make wait, I'm sorry. A title company makes sure that your title is clean and free of potential ownership claims. Okay, so what they do is um, they will perform a title search, which entails looking into for potential obstacles to the clean transfer of ownerships. So what does that mean? What obstacles could you encounter and what make it a not clean title or a dirty title or a clouded title, which is a thing. All right. So some of the things that can make it not a clean title is or hindrances is outstanding mortgages. Okay. Unless the previous home is owned free and clear, the current homeowner will have a mortgage tied to the property. This will need to be paid off. So again, the title company's job is to get the funds from you buyer, from your lending company, right? And then they also have to pay off if the seller has a mortgage on the property, those funds, that mortgage. Okay. So a lot of times if I'm going to list your house, I will ask you, hey, how much do you owe on your mortgage? Right? Because that is one of the things that is going to be paid off at settlement. And the title company does the research to find the exact number. Because sometimes, home buyers, I'm sorry, home owners may or may not know the net that they're owed on the property. Okay. So they also, one of the hindrance also is other existing liens. Okay, other existing liens. All right, it could be a home equity line of credit or a loan to pay off solar panels or anything like that. Another hindrance, unpaid home owners association dues. Another is judgments or unpaid tax liens. All right. Another is restrictions. If there are any restricting if there's anything restricting the free transfer of ownership in a property that can cause a problem. Okay. An example of restrictions would be requirement to be a certain age to live in a community or requirement to belong to a certain group. I don't know what that one is. We're just not going to think about that. No. Yeah, I don't understand that one, but let's move on. Easements. Easements are agreements that although you own the property, you're giving someone else the right to use your land for a specific purpose, right? An example of an easement is might be the right to use a space for parking. Another good example is like a driveway, right? Maybe there is one driveway, but then that driveway splits into going to one garage for one property and another garage for another property, right? That's also a good example. So yeah, so those are some of the hindrances minus that restrictions thing. I'm not sure specifically what that was. Sorry, guys. Next, another thing that the title company do, okay, um, is they prepare abstract of title. Okay, an abstract of title is a legal document that outlines the ownership history of a particular property. It not only covers when the property is sold, okay, but it covers related, but records related to inheritance, court litigation, and tax sales as well. Looking at the abstract gives you a great way. I can't talk today. A great way to determine the history of the property. All right. Let's move into a really, really, really big deal, which is title insurance. One of the main things, the title company does is after they do all the research and do all the things we just discussed and make sure things are good, they give you title insurance. So what is that? Okay. There are actually two different types of title insurance. The first one is just what's going to come with them giving you a title search. All right. The two different types is the lender's title policy, which again that comes along with just any transaction of home ownership, and the other is an owner's title policy. Okay, if you're getting a mortgage, a lender's title policy is required. So again, that comes with just doing a transaction with buying a house. It's typically paid for by the buyer, but there are certain areas where the seller pays for it in accordance with local customs. Here, Philadelphia, surrounding suburbs, is paid by the buyer. An owner's title policy is optional. Okay, this protects your investment in the property, but you can also go without it at your own risk. Okay, this is new to me. Listen, as a real estate agent, I'm always learning stuff. So I did not know that you can go ahead and get a um, a owner's title policy on your own. Okay, so it's pretty much like, hey, my job provides me 401k, but I can go and get my own 401k or IRA account if I wanted to, right? So it's kind of that type of thing, having that extra coverage and all that good stuff. So let's talk about the difference. Lender's title insurance, which is the regular one, which is what you automatically get when you're going to buy a home, is meant to protect the mortgage lender if there's an issue down the line with the title that causes you to lose the house in a property dispute. What that means is the title, the lender's title insurance is to protect the lender. So if somebody said, "Hey, that's my house," I'm going to dispute it. I got proof, whatever the case is, right? Then now this is not something that happens. That's a common thing that happens. I'm sure there's cases where it has happened, but this is not a common thing that happens, right? But if somebody was like, "Hey, this is my property. The person that sold it was not supposed to sold it, whatever. I have proof, I have documents and stuff like that." The lender would not feel the hit for that because they have insurance, so they would be able to get whatever is owed on the mortgage. But, okay, in contrast, an owner's title policy does not provide you with the protection for the equity built up over the months and years in your home. Okay, lender's title insurance, the lender's going to get back their money. Okay, whatever is owed. Okay, and you could be out your house if somebody came and said, "Nope, that's my house," right? So it pretty much means that somebody could come and say, "It's my house." Um, they're wrong, and whatever mortgage you have on that property, the lender would be okay because they would get their money, and you would be lost out on a house. Okay. Again, this is not typical stuff. Okay. But what the owner's title policy is saying is that, hey, you would be able to, if in an event something like this happened, you will be able to get the money and equity that you have, right? So if you have been in the house for 10 years and you got a certain amount of dollars in equity on the home, you will be able to recuperate that. Okay. How much does title insurance cost? On average, the national average at least is about $544. You won't even be thinking about that money really because it's just included with your closing costs. Okay. But that's the average. The next is if you're looking to get your own owner's title policy, that cost is between 830 and 1374. All right. As I'm bringing this to the end because it's kind of long. Do you need owner's title insurance? Okay. It's really up to you. Okay. So like I said before, this is new to me, right? So I've never heard of getting your own title insurance. Um, so as far as I know, you getting a lender title insurance, which is fantastic. I think it's about making sure that you have a title company that do their due diligence and all that good stuff. Typically, what happens during a transaction, if something comes up with the property, or with the buyer or seller, right? They got a judgment against them. They have taxes and stuff like that. What happens is, like, say the seller has a whole bunch of money in taxes and liens, all that other stuff, then it's fine. What will happen is, um, those funds will get paid, right? Um, with so pretty much those liens get paid first, okay? And then the seller gets the net if there is any. I remember I had a situation where my buyer bought a house. The seller owed a lot of things on the property, and they really didn't get that much net. And after they sold the house, because it was so many liens and stuff against the property, right? So most times that's what happens. Most times the seller would just get whatever the net is, okay, after they pay all the debts that's associated with the property. All right. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's really up to you. I would say just do your own research, do your own due diligence, do your own due diligence. I would say for investors, if you're an investor, it might make sense to do this. I would say that, because if you're an investor who gets a lot of distressed properties, where it's just like it been in the family for 182 years, but this person was deceased and they didn't, handle their money right and their paperwork and stuff like that, then maybe I could see a really good option for an investor who's getting those kind of properties that, God only knows who the house belongs to, because you're getting properties that had to have work done, and all that good stuff. And in those situations, it might make sense. It might make sense. The last thing I'm gonna talk about, choosing a title company. I typically use a fantastic title company. They do great work. They know their stuff. Typically, your agent, your realtor, is going to, set you up with a title company. That's not something buyers will even think about, let alone sellers, unless the seller is like a LLC, or somebody who's an investor and stuff like that. They maybe use one particular title company, but for the most part, you're going to use the type of company that your agent is saying is good and would suggest. Um, I wouldn't worry about it. You can do your research with title companies, feel free. But I like to work with colleagues who I know is going to get the job done, do it well, and do it in a way that my clients won't be in jeopardy. Um, and like I said, the particular title company that I use, um, does it does a great job. And we've been in some sticky scenarios where things come up and you like, what? And they do a great job in making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So I'm gonna shout them out. Quick Abstract LLC. They're fantastic. Look them up. Quick Abstract LLC. I use them all the time, and they're fantastic, and they get done what they're supposed to. Um, and I'm mad at them. So that's all I have to say about that, guys. Listen, I've been looking at my phone because people are calling me, sending texts, all kinds of stuff. So I gotta go. So I hope that got that helps you. And if you have any other questions, you know what you need to do. You need to go to book.djmrealtyco.com and schedule a consultation. We'll talk about it. We'll go through the process, and but I think this is really good because, like I said, I learned something. I learned a lot of things from doing these Tuesday tips at two, in addition to my own experience. But like I said, I learned a couple of new things today as well. So This was fun. Um, oh, you guys got to like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. I need you to do it. Okay. Comment if this helped you, if this was useful, if this was like, wow, that's something interesting to know, then I'm glad to be of service. So remember, there's no place like home, no place like home buying. And I'll see you next week for a whole new Tuesday Tip of Two.